Friends and countrymen, I am here again, Ikeazor, Ajovi, Akaraiwe, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to discuss Nigeria. And this time around, I am discussing about the perceived marginalization of the Igbo and why the Igbo should take a more nuanced view of our marginalization as perceived by us. This discussion is anchored upon an intent to reconcile Nigeria and to reintegrate the Igbo man fully into the mainstream of the Nigerian political economy. Nigeria is full of wounds, needs reconciliation, and only a statesman can reconcile this country. The Igbo are quite integrated. You find the Igbo in every village in Nigeria. Excuse me, but when it comes to the politics of Nigeria, there appears to be some exclusion, and that is a fulcrum for today's discussion. And I go back in history to January 15, 1966, before I was 4 years old. January 15, 1966 is, to my mind, the foundation stone of the seemingly irreconcilable differences among Nigerian ethnic nationalities with my Igbo ethnic nationality as the center of the conundrum. Excuse me. On January 15, 1966, a military coup took place in Nigeria. And the military coup was spearheaded by rank and file of the Nigerian army of various ethnic nationalities. But the 5 arrowheads of this military coup were Major Emmanuel Arinze Ifajuna from Onitsha in today's Anambra State, Major Chukuma Kaduna Nzeogu from Okpanam in today's Igbo-speaking Delta State. There was Major Okafor from today's Anambra State, Major Anuforo, Major Chukwuka, Major Nwatuegu, the last 3 from Anambra State, Major Ademoyega, a Yoruba from today's southwest Nigeria, and the last but not the least, Major Captain Nwobosi. The last but not the least, Captain Nwobosi. Now, so I have mentioned 6 names, 5 were Igbo and 1 Yoruba. But following the ranks of the officers, the 5 key players were the 5 majors, 4 Igbo and 1 Yoruba. Now, before I go on, the question to be asked was, did the Igbo officers of the Nigerian army come together and decide that they were going to plot a coup against the other tribes? The simple answer is that the predominant ethnic nationality in the middle officer cadre of the Nigerian army were mostly Igbo. Indeed, the chief of army staff, at that time known as the General Officer commanding the Nigerian army, General Aguiyi was Igbo, and the officer in charge of the armory, Colonel Arthur Imegbe, was Igbo. So the Igbo had an advantage in population in the military. The way today the Fulani ethnic nationality has the population advantage, the demographic advantage. It was not planned by the Igbo, it was just that the military was a source of interest, a subject of interest rather. However, given the predominant nature of the Igbo officers in demographic advantage, the way it can be said that the military coup that brought Murtala Mohammed to power in 1975 has a demographic advantage of northwestern and northeastern officers. Ad infinitum, the coup that sought to remove Babangida in 1986, was it? Also had 1990, Gideon Okasku also had a predominant advantage of north central officers. The demographic advantage was decidedly in favor of the Igbo in the middle officer cadre. And so, of the 5 officers, 4 Igbo were Igbo. And even if they came together on the basis of their ethnic nationality, it shouldn't surprise anybody, since the person you can speak your private language to, more trusted in your view than one who doesn't speak your language. Even if there are 2 or 3 Igbo persons, for example, or 2 or 3 Yoruba persons, if one of them does not speak their language, maybe because he grew up outside, he might not be as trusted as the other one. But that is a digression. I'm only just trying to say that at the end of the day, that coup, 1966, January 15, was and still is perceived as an Igbo coup, because the arrowheads, 4 out of 5 of them, 80%, were Igbo officers. They were Igbo officers. And that was only part of the problem. The major problem was that it was a bloody coup. And the political hierarchy of all the regional governments were decapitated, with the exception of the Igbo-speaking regions, Midwest and Eastern region. In the northern region, the Prime Minister, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, was murdered. The governor of the northern region, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was murdered. The wife of the governor of the northern region, aforesaid, Hafsatu Bello, was murdered. Another wife of the governor of the northern region, Zarumi Sadauna, was murdered. Ahmed Pategi, who was a driver to the governor of the northern region, he was murdered. Ahmed Ben Musa,